Hello everybody, welcome to Sharon's Space. I am Shaz and I am on point to empower women to rock their small or home-based business while still adding value and significance in everything that they do. Today's topic is how not to micromanage once you become a success in your industry, in your business, in your field. And I'm talking from personal experience here because I know what it's like because I've done it. And if you haven't subscribed, if you find value in this video, please feel free to share the love. So I've done it. I've been there. I have come from here, like you can't see my hand because it's way down low, like really low. Housing commission to raised by a single mother. There was 5 of us in the family. One of the stories, you know, I went to high school. I went to year 10, so I left and didn't finish. No qualifications in absolutely anything, like zero, nada, nothing at all. And found myself in a situation where I'd actually left home at the age of 16 and found direct sales at the age of 19, and it literally changed my life, my direction of my life for the rest of my life up until, you know, this point. So very grateful that that existed, because I have no idea the path that I would have went on. I have no idea where I would have ended up where I just had no idea whatsoever. And I was on a pretty downward path at the time, as it was when, you know, direct sales found me. So I had, money wasn't something we never had. We didn't have necessarily the environment or the people around us that were, you know, building businesses and going to uni and doing all the stuff. Like, that wasn't a part of my environment. It wasn't part of my upbringing. It wasn't a part of whatever. So no worries. When I found direct sales, all foreign to me. Like, the terminology that everybody used, the words, I was 19 too. So do the math on that, 20 years ago. Actually 21 years ago. Oh my goodness, I think. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, let's just lose count now. So the words that were used and everything that was said, I was just, most of it went over my head. But the few things that I latched on literally changed my life for the rest of my life. But there was a few speed bumps in the way. One of them was because of everything that I'd been through in terms of like growing up and stuff. When I got to a point in my direct sales where at one point I was the youngest to have been on the level that I was on in Australia. And I literally was just doing what I was encouraged to do, what I was told to do. I was very teachable, and I had a massive goal to prove everybody wrong for those in my past that had said to me that I would not amount to anything. So I had a massive, like, I call it the eye of the tiger, like, I was going to prove to everyone that, you know, I could be something. And I wanted to be something. I didn't want to have the life that I had seen and grew up with and many of before me had had. So I'm like, well, let's just make some changes, and, you know, I'm happy to be teachable and all that kind of jazz. So I had an exciting time. The first 90 days was interesting though, and that's a whole different YouTube video, that one. But almost quit just at the end of my 90 days. And literally the month after, everything just went boom. So I'll have to share that in another YouTube video. But I went on to achieve great things and traveled. I have literally been overseas 38 times prior to having kids. So my daughter will be 8 in June. So before children, I'd actually traveled overseas 38 times. A lot of those were paid trips from the company. And I'd never traveled before, and I'd been to the most amazing places and experienced so many things as such a young adult and a young woman that, most people don't get the opportunity to experience in a whole lifetime. So the respect that I have for direct sales, that it's the average person's best chance to be above and become above average. I truly believe that with my heart and soul. Even to this day, although I have made some interesting choices over the last 8 years, I'd say 8 years. I've made some 10 years, interesting choices, which have actually not put me on that going up path at all. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And there was times of my business that I know that this will be like a light bulb for some of you, that, and those of you that aren't yet quite at that leadership, what you consider, whatever that is in your company, that leadership role or that level, then I hope that you tune in and you hold this here and you remember this when you get there, is that always be humble. Always remember where you come from, and never let, and I say glitz and glamour, but you kind of know what I mean by that. It's not really glitz and glamour. It's glitz and glamour of stuff, whatever that is in your company. But there's going to be times, where you are exposed to certain things that is going to derail you. And for me, one of them was that I was very much so a personal business builder, in terms of like my own production was reasonable. It was quite high. It was pretty consistent. And I was in the top of our organization of sales and recruiting and stuff very often and quite consistently. But once I became a leader, I started to do this thing called micromanaging. And I would not recommend it. So what that is, in a nutshell, is where you take your eye off the ball of what got you to where you are, and you take your eye off the ball and you start doing things that you feel is necessary to do, because now you're the leader. You don't need to do all that stuff. And I don't think any of us intentionally mean to think like this, but some of us seem to do it, and I was one of those ones. So micromanaging your team and needing to be on mentoring calls all the time, and needing to, just fluff and stuff, really. Fluff around, rather than focusing on what got you to where you were, which was retailing, recruiting, showing up. There's a list, but they're like the few things, the core business things that got you to where you got to. You seem to drop the most important things when you start micromanaging your team, because you are now the leader, so you must micromanage. Do not micromanage, be humble, because once you stop retailing, once you stop recruiting, and that may change, you may do it less, but don't stop it. Once you stop doing that, what happens is then you don't know how to teach one of your new team members that comes in how to retail the product or how to promote the service or whatever it might be for you, because you don't know how to do it anymore. You've forgotten, and things change. So keep yourself current with that, and keep yourself in the game. And then, you need to teach them how to retail, because they need to make income. And if you're not recruiting, then you don't know how to teach that either, because things change, ways change, methods change. So just keep yourself current, and always remember what got you to where you are. And on the final topic of this is live below your means. One thing that I did not do is, I was young and I found myself, and I take full responsibility for every choice I made, every action that I took, every single thing in my life I hold responsibility for. Yes, that, because we all take responsibility when we're successful, right? We're like, I did it, it was me, hey, I did it. But I also take responsibility for the choices that I made that made me go down, very much down, because there was a few of those downs. And there probably still will be a few more of those downs. So living below your means that you don't have to have, I mean, as I think I mentioned, I was young, right? So I was in an environment I had really no clue of, and I was learning so much. But I latched on to certain things, and I take full responsibility. But I did not live below my means. I was, in a position where I was earning definitely a 7-figure income. But, like I remember one of the greats, Mr. Jim Rohn, saying is that, and he said it in a Jim Rohn way, not in like the Shaz way that I'm about to say it now, but I remember him actually saying that, say for example, you make $10,000, but you spend 11, well, you're kind of like, that's no good, right? So live below your means, be yourself, be humble, and always do what got you to where you are, because you'll be so relatable to the industry, to everyone that comes on to your team, because you've got to remember that you also started there. You also had to make a start. And never ever prejudge anybody. And that was one thing that, 20 odd years ago that I am forever grateful for, that I could have been so easily prejudged. So easily. And I've heard many stories over the years where young people were prejudged, and then somebody else sponsored them and they've made it. So don't prejudge people. You never really know anyone's true story, and don't judge anyone until you've actually walked in their shoes either. So hopefully that was helpful and useful, and you can find value in that, even if it's just a little tiny bit. And I look forward to seeing you on my next video. Don't forget to subscribe and share away. Bye.